Oh man. Oh man. Look, I know it's been a while. It's been exactly 1 month, but I'm back. We have video ideas set up. I'm going to be doing another vlog because I'm going to Warriors versus Suns on March 30th. And we have the playoffs coming up, so I am back. If you want to know exactly where I've been, I will leave the channel post as the pinned comment. But for now, we need to talk about the Golden State Warriors because my God, this team sucks, at least right now. Steph Curry went down with a foot injury in a game against the Boston Celtics, and since then, the Warriors have gone 1-3 with some pretty frustrating losses to the Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks. And even then, they had been struggling for a while before Steph even got hurt. There was a frustrating loss a while ago against the Pacers where Indiana didn't have anybody playing. It's been a long and very weird season, and it's being topped off with what has happened over the last week. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about the Warriors the last week or so, what has gone wrong, and we're going to once again talk about Steve Kerr. So let's get into the video. So real quick before we begin, I know a lot of you guys watching this are not subscribed, so if you do fall into that category, please feel free to hit the sub button. It only takes a second and it really helps out a lot. So the Warriors are in a very rough spot in what has already been a very up and down season. They started out the year with Steph and Draymond, but no Clay. Then Clay came back and Draymond went out the same game. Then Draymond came back and now Steph is out. In total, that trio has only played 11 minutes together on the floor all season. However, the worst stretch of the season has been the recent stretch of games where Golden State was missing Steph, because of course. The Warriors got a win against the Miami Heat. However, the Heat have also been playing terribly recently, so that isn't as impressive as it seems at first. And they have lost games against the Spurs, Orlando Magic, and Atlanta Hawks in some pretty frustrating ways too, blowing a 14-point fourth quarter lead against the Magic, and then going to Atlanta and giving less than ideal effort on defense, and still losing despite 37 points and 9 threes from Klay Thompson. The Warriors went from scoring 42 points in the first quarter to scoring 43 points the entire second half. And part of that was our offense, but another part was our good old friend, Steve Kerr, aka the father of a person whose name you can't even say out loud. Yes, this is real. Google it. Trust me, I wish I was making this up. But anyway, I know what some of you are already saying. Here Warrior fans go talking about Kerr again. He gave y'all 3 rings, which is my favorite argument because realistically, if you put any coach in that position, you will likely get the same outcome. Steve Kerr has literally said this himself. And
we're all dependent on our talent as coaches, and the Warriors were already good. You know, they were a 50-win team. They got all this young talent.
Right.
So honestly, if I'd taken the next job, I would have been spun through that cycle and been gone in 2 years, guaranteed.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
And things that Warrior fans have been complaining about are all valid criticisms for any coach. Some things that he said are literally worthy of being fired, but that will never happen because of the situation he's in with the franchise. What other coach in the league do you know that can say we're not chasing wins and still keep their job next season? Well, a little over a year after that legendary quote was spoken, he gave us another one, which is the title of the video. Don't believe that he actually said this? Well, here he is.
And I know these are great guys. I love these guys in the locker room. Awesome guys. And I know they want to win, but we have to learn how to win. And right now we don't know how to win.
What? Now, I understand not having an MVP candidate on the floor is going to hurt your team big time, especially when that player attracts the most attention we've ever seen on a basketball court. But you mean to tell me that you don't know how to win games against teams like the Orlando Magic when you still have Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green on the roster? Speaking of which, the game against the Atlanta Hawks was a very interesting game because Draymond and Andrew Wiggins weren't playing particularly well for a portion of the game, and so we just decided to bench them. Andrew Wiggins played 0 minutes in the fourth quarter despite the game being close for nearly half of the quarter, and Draymond Green only saw about 3 plays of game time with 1 minute left. Now, is it a bad thing to bench players when they may not be playing their best? Sure, but it depends on the situation. When that situation involves Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins, who are your only healthy all-stars on the roster, that's honestly incredible. Because usually that's the type of thing that happens with role players. Dudes like a Damian Lee or someone along those lines, who, by the way, played 27 minutes in that game despite not making a single jump shot and being a liability on defense, as he usually is every game. He played 27 minutes, more minutes than Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney, Otto Porter, and Jonathan Kuminga. When you're benching dudes like that because Damian Lee needs his run, that's a massive problem, because this isn't some one-time thing. Damian Lee averages 20 minutes a game for the season when he realistically should be seeing single digits, if any, just due to the amount of talent that we've had available all season. You may cite injuries as the reason that Damian Lee is playing more minutes, and to that I say Chris Chiozza, a two-way player mind you, was getting significant minutes towards the start of the year when we already had more than enough guys contributing valuable minutes. Like, we were literally having talks about who was going to get cut from the rotation because almost everyone from 1 through 11 was contributing. Speaking of rotations, Wardell, Stephen Curry II, because also towards the start of the season, Steve Kerr introduced a new rotation for him that was different from his old rotation, nicknamed 12-6-12-6. Which was him playing the entire first quarter, rest, last 6 minutes of the first half, entire third quarter, rest, last 6 minutes of the game. And that was something that people were complaining about last season when the team was statistically one of the worst teams of all time when he left the court. And so he waited until the rotation was back working before changing it. And at first I had no problem with it because I thought it would be just like a 2-week experiment just to see. And then Steph Curry started being visibly frustrated as some of his substitution patterns would either take him out of rhythm or prevent him from getting into a rhythm in the first place. The prime example of this was this game against the Clippers, where Steph starts the game shooting 6 for 6 from the field, including 4 for 4 from 3, and he gets subbed out. And this is how he reacted.
When they come back, is this a championship caliber team?
Would imagine, there was some concern from Steve Kerr that James Wiseman and some of the younger players didn't align.
And it was at that point when the entire fan base was in an uproar, because we're like, dude, your franchise player doesn't like the minutes he's playing. How is that even possible? Minutes which didn't even make sense from the beginning, because part of the reason this rotation was introduced, according to Kerr, was to keep his minutes down and to have him starting and finishing every quarter. Well, because he was out of rhythm and the minutes were so spotty, the games would always be close and he would end up playing more minutes than he did on the old rotation. There were more than a handful of games where he would either approach or exceed 40 minutes in the regular season. And that obviously is not ideal. Also, he wasn't finishing the first or third quarters, so that's literally something that just never even happened. The rotation was changed after about 4 months of it clearly not serving its intended purpose. And don't get me wrong, part of this is on Steph for just not being direct about it. But it still shouldn't take you that long to realize when something isn't working, especially with your most important player. And the reason it was changed back wasn't even some in-depth conversation. It happened by accident. Because there was one game where there were no stoppages for him to come out before the end of the first quarter. And so he ended up playing the entire first quarter, just like old times, and looked very comfortable with it. And after the game was when both Steph and Steve Kerr said in their pressers that they were changing it back. Man, bro, how do you figure out something so painfully obvious by accident? I have no idea what's going on with this team, but I do know one thing. We say we don't know how to win games right now. We gotta figure out how to win games soon, because I am leaving to the Bay on Tuesday night, hoping to vlog a Warriors win with no Steph against the team with 60 wins. So, Mr. Top 15 coach of all time, you are a top 15 coach of all time. So, I don't think that should be as big of an issue. But with all that being said, I want to know what you guys have thought about this recent stretch. Are you worried about the team come playoff time? And if so, what exactly are the concerns that you think need to be addressed before then? Let me know what you think. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new, hit the bell to be notified when I upload, comment down below what you want to see next, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.